In the year 2016, the Earth has become almost unlivable after global temperatures increase by 10 degrees. Water and food is depleted, and social structures have vanished. A young woman abruptly wakes up in the forest. She then goes to a crashed car and attempts to wake up the man inside, Alex. She attempts to get him out of there, but he is stuck under the debris. When someone approaches, he tells her to leave him and run. So she runs to the forest with the figure pursuing her. But suddenly her pursuers throw a rope, and it gets into her neck. She fell. The person reaches her and drags her away. Elsewhere, a young woman named Marie, accompanied by her younger sister Leonie and her partner Philip, is making her way across a barren desert in their old car. Its windows are covered in newspaper, and metal mesh has been strapped to the roof to deflect the sun. The driver can barely see through the tiny exposed section of the windshield. The group is heading towards a place that is rumored to be untouched and full of life. Philip stops the car to put on gas and continues their road. The trio comes across an old gas station. Marie and Leonie search the building for anything they can use, while Philip works on retrieving fuel from underground tanks. Eventually, the sisters manage to get some water from the pipes. But while they're distracted, a figure in a cloak sneaks up and robs their car, making off with their supplies. Marie quickly notices the theft and alerts Philip, who drops what he's doing and rushes to help. They give chase, but it's too late. The supplies are gone. Frustrated and overwhelmed, Philip vents his anger, blaming Marie. Marie hears Leonie's. Panicked, she searches frantically and calls out her sister's name, but there's no response. Shaking with fear, she steps into the gas station, scanning every corner. Then she spots her sister being held hostage by the same hooded stranger who had robbed them earlier. The man orders Marie to drop her weapon and cooperate. Though hesitant, she complies. Just as the tension reaches a peak, Philip appears without warning and attacks the man. The two men get into a violent fight, trading heavy blows. Eventually, Philip gains the upper hand, but he stops when the man reveals he has gas. The man, Tom, reveals he's been living nearby and brings 5 liters of gas in return for food and water. Tom starts explaining more about the car's engine and the risk of it breaking down anytime. Not wanting to gamble with their lives, Philip decides to let Tom join them. With their group now including the stranger, they continue their journey toward the distant mountains, following deserted roads under the burning sky. Eventually, they're forced to stop when they encounter a massive hunk of twisted metal blocking the road. The men try to push it, but it won't budge. Using the car's power, they manage to shove it aside. While there, they spot a wrecked car down a slope. Thinking it might hold valuable supplies, the men climb down to investigate. Inside, they discover the bodies of a French couple, apparently recent victims of the brutal conditions. Alongside them are some untouched supplies: fresh water, fuel, and a bit of food. Philip radios Marie, asking her to pass down some containers so they can collect the goods, but Marie refuses. She insists he come up and get what he needs himself, unwilling to leave Leonie alone even for a moment. When Leonie accidentally overhears a tense conversation between the others, she realizes they see her as a burden. Hurt but composed, she tells Marie to leave Philip so that the two can continue. But that is not possible. Marie locks her inside the car. Despite her hesitation, Marie eventually joins the others after Philip calls for her. Soon after regrouping, Philip gives Marie a bottle of French perfume from the wrecked vehicle and begins jokingly testing it. Their brief moment is shattered when Leonie radios, telling them someone was there. Shortly after, they hear her scream. They rush back up the hill, but Marie stumbles and falls. When she comes to, she finds herself alone in the woods. Shaken, she keeps going and eventually crosses paths with Tom again. He breaks the news that by the time he and Philip return to the car, It was already too late. The people had taken Leonie. They reunite with Tom. Something comes through the radio, but the transmission was bad, so Tom got on a tower to get a signal. While there, Tom notices smoke in the distance and urges them to investigate. Despite Philip's reluctance, the group heads toward the smoke. What they find is horrifying. A camp where several prisoners, including Leonie, are being held in chains. Sickened by the scene, Tom quickly crafts a plan. He proposes that while he and Philip cause a diversion and rescue Leonie, Marie will circle back and use their car to create an escape route. He hands her a makeshift Molotov cocktail to spark chaos at the right moment. Marie agrees immediately and sneaks into the car. As she gets in place, one of the captors becomes suspicious. Just as he steps forward to investigate, Tom launches the Molotov cocktail, setting off a wave of panic. Taking advantage of the distraction, Marie starts the engine and waits for the men to return. But Philip, gripped by fear, changes his mind at the last second. Instead of helping Tom with the rescue, he runs to the car, jumps in beside Marie, and urges her to leave immediately. With no time to argue, they speed away, leaving Tom and Leonie behind. Marie keeps pressing Philip for details about what happened to Leonie and Tom. Philip gives her a vague excuse, claiming they weren't able to free Leonie from her restraints and had no choice but to flee. During their chaotic escape, he sustained a serious injury to his foot. Despite this, he urges Marie to forget about her sister, insisting that saving her is no longer possible. Feeling betrayed and furious, she packs everything she might need and decides to go after her sister on her own. After wandering alone for some time, she discovers Leonie's bag in a drainage tunnel, suggesting the kidnappers are nearby. As she examines the area, Philip limps into view. He apologizes for abandoning the plan and promises to help search for both Leonie and Tom. Marie gets a radio transmission and steps out into the burning heat once more to get a signal. But there is nothing. But it suggests Marie is nearby because the walkie-talkie only works in a 3-kilometer distance. Philip's condition is also getting worse. He tells Marie to leave without him and gives her his shirt, knowing he can't make it far in his condition. Marie sets off alone, walking in the harsh heat. Eventually, drained by exhaustion and the sun, she takes refuge in the ruins of an old church. There, she collapses on the stone floor and blacks out. Some hours later, she's woken by an elderly woman named Elizabeth. At first, Marie is wary of the stranger, but the woman offers her water and speaks with calm reassurance. As they begin to talk, Marie explains everything, how her sister and a friend were taken by a group, and how she's been trying to find them. Although Elizabeth says she hasn't encountered anyone like that, she offers to help. She suggests that Marie come back to her farm to rest and recover. Eventually, Marie agrees, worn down by exhaustion. As they walk, the woman tells her how the farmers died and few people survived. At the farm, Elizabeth explains that most of her livestock died because of the extreme heat. The family now relies on fish from a nearby pond to survive. As Marie is shown around, she tells Elizabeth about Philip. Elizabeth promised to send her son to help him while she rested. Marie is finally welcomed and given a place to sleep for the day, finally getting a brief moment of peace. Marie, drained from the heat and stress, quickly falls asleep. When she wakes, something feels wrong. Through a small opening in the wall, she sees a young boy and someone else playfully sparring with wooden swords. But her attention shifts when she notices several frightened people nearby. They look like prisoners. Then, to her shock, she sees Philip being dragged into the barn, badly injured. It becomes horrifyingly clear that Elizabeth and her family are behind the kidnappings and road traps. Suddenly, the door bursts open. Elizabeth walks in with a cold expression and makes a chilling announcement. They're out of food and they need to survive. Because of their appearance, Marie and Leonie will be spared, but only to be married off to Elizabeth's sons.
Wenn Sohn braucht eine Frau. Sonst geht's mit dem Hof hier nicht weiter.
Elizabeth brings Leonie, and finally the sisters reunite. Elizabeth places a blue dress on the table, telling Marie to wear it for dinner. She also issues a brutal warning. Anyone who tries to escape will be killed and fed to the family. After she leaves, the sisters throw themselves into each other's arms. Marie quietly promises they'll escape together.
Okay, Leonie. Wir müssen weg von hier.
The two begin tearing up their clothes, tying the strips together to form a makeshift rope. Their plan? To climb out the window. But before they can finish, there's a footstep by the door. Marie tells Leonie to pretend she's asleep while she hides the rope. Elizabeth's son Miha enters, saying he's there to check on Leonie's injuries. As he approaches the window, Marie catches him off guard with a sudden kiss, then grabs a heavy object and strikes him. Dazed and enraged, Miha lashes out, grabbing Marie by the throat. Just as things turn dire, Leonie jumps in and hits him hard from behind with another object, knocking him unconscious. Wasting no time, the sisters prepare for their escape. Marie helps Leonie out the window first, urging her to run into the forest and stay hidden. Once Leonie is safely outside, Marie decides to stay behind, hiding in the shadows, ready to confront whatever comes next. She quietly changes into the blue dress Elizabeth left for her. With no other choice, she goes downstairs and finds Elizabeth.
Die anderen kommen gleich runter.
Elizabeth seems pleased, possibly assuming that Marie has accepted her fate. When asked about Miha, Marie lies, saying he's upstairs tending to Leonie's injuries.
Macht ihr noch ihren Verband.
She's led to the dining room, where the entire family is gathered. They chant a prayer in unison, preparing to eat what is clearly human flesh. A plate is handed to Marie as everyone watches her, waiting for her to eat. Terrified, she bolts for the door, but Miha, having recovered from their earlier fight, intercepts her. She's quickly restrained and taken to the slaughter room. In the dimly lit space, Marie sees Philip tied up across from her, injured and unable to move. Miha arrives shortly after, and without hesitation, kills Philip, preparing his body for the next meal. As Miha leaves the room, Marie manages to slip a knife from Philip's clothing and cut herself free. Escaping through the butcher's area, she finds her way to the barn. Inside, behind a locked door, she discovers a group of captives, including Tom. Without wasting time, they break out together as the cannibal family begins chasing them. A fight erupts. Tom manages to take down several of their attackers and saves Marie at a critical moment, striking one of the family members just as Marie is about to be hit. Amid the chaos, Marie escapes into the forest, determined to find her sister. After a desperate search, she comes across Leonie, but she is restrained by Elizabeth and one of her sons. Elizabeth confronts Marie, telling her she's different from the others, and they want to keep Leonie, who they plan to marry off to continue their family.
Ich dachte, du bist was Besonderes.
Marie keeps calm, waiting for the right moment. As Elizabeth steps in close, Marie stabs her with the knife she had hidden. The son drops to his knees, grieving over his mother, as Marie quickly frees Leonie. The sisters flee into the woods, eventually reuniting with Tom. They collect water dripping from a stone. Together, the three of them head toward the top of the mountain. But as they reach the top of the ridge, their hope begins to fade. Instead of lush greenery or signs of life, all they see stretching out below is more of the same: a cracked, lifeless land.